Hey everybody, welcome to Recipes for Love, and I'm Ellie Love, and today we're going to make bacon jam. Hey everybody, so we're going to get ready to make the bacon jam today, and there's kind of a funny story behind it. We were all sitting around, my husband, his girlfriend, our daughter, and I were all sitting around having dinner, and I was kind of talking about what I was going to do for Mr. Wednesday, my boyfriend, for dinner, because this Wednesday we had a podcast that we were doing, so and the person couldn't talk to us till later in the evening, and so I was like, I'm going to get all the stuff ready and we're going to do hamburgers because it's easy, because usually I go over to Mr. Wednesday's and it's a whole thing and I spend all day cooking and I take a bath and stuff like that. He's kind of my relaxation day. And Christina was like, ooh, bacon jam, that sounds amazing. And our daughter was like, I've been wanting hamburgers, let's do hamburgers. So they rearranged what they were going to have on Wednesday so that we were all having hamburgers on the same day, and I'm leaving some bacon jam for Christina to have with her hamburger today. So now we're going to get all these ingredients ready. We've got onions, shallots, chili powder, garlic, brown sugar, some apple cider vinegar, and some coffee, and of course, bacon. We're going to dice up the bacon and dice up the onions and the shallots, and then we're going to cook it all up in a skillet, and we're going to put it in our crock pot. And bacon jam, it takes a little time, so you want to think about it in advance, but it's not labor intensive because mostly you just chop everything, saute a little, and then stick it in the crock pot and forget it. All right, let's do the onions the easy way. Alrighty, now that I've dried all my tears and fixed my makeup, we're ready to dice up this bacon. It doesn't need to be super finely chopped, so I'm just going to cut through and just kind of make little pieces out of it. All right, so we're getting our pan nice and hot, and yep, there's definitely some heat coming off of that. So we're going to cook our bacon in here, get it all sizzly. Ooh. Spread it out. And as you can see now, we've got it all nice, deeply browned. You definitely want to render it in some fat. It helps it get really crispy for you. So I'm going to turn this temp down really quite a bit because the grease is going to be really hot. I'm going to turn the fan down so you can hear me. And now we're going to take this bacon off, and I'm just going to put it over here onto a plate with some paper towels, mostly because I don't want to clean up a greasy plate. We're going to dump off some of this grease, but we want to keep a fair amount because we want to cook the onions in it and the shallots, and then we're going to add everything back together into this pan. And we're going to dump the onions in here. And we had dumped off a little bit of the grease. We're going to add the shallots. And we're going to saute these down a little bit. And we're going to cook them down just a little before we add the garlic because we definitely don't want to burn the garlic. And the onions will take a little longer to cook than the garlic will. Alrighty, now that these have gotten good and soft, I'm going to add the garlic. And stir that in. We're just going to let this saute and cook down just a little bit more, probably another anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. Probably going to depend on your burner and how high you're cooking it. You definitely don't want to burn them, but you do want them to be nice and soft. Now the onions are getting very soft and they're becoming translucent. A few of them are still a little dark, but they're coming together quite nicely. But at this point, you can see they've absorbed most of the oil and are just browning up nicely. So we're going to add in the rest of the ingredients, minus the bacon. So we're going to add 1 teaspoon of a chili powder, which is going to add just a tiny bit of spice to it. We're going to add a 1/2 cup of the vinegar. We are going to add a 1/2 cup of brown sugar. And the magic ingredient, we are going to add 3/4 of a cup of what's left over of my coffee this morning. And yes, a yawn is a silent scream for coffee, because without coffee, life does not exist. Okay, it wasn't really my morning coffee because I would never drink my coffee black. All right, so now we're just going to stir everything all together and bring it to a nice boil to get everything all combined together. We want it to boil probably for just a minute or two. We don't really want it to, we're not wanting the liquid to boil off too much at this point. Now for the bacon. We've got this boiling nicely. The onions are starting to really soften up at this point. Got a good boil going on. And then just add this bacon. Oh, it smells a little bit like heaven in the kitchen right now. We're going to mix this all together and we're going to maintain the boil just for a few minutes, not many. We just want to make sure we get it all super incorporated and the bacon absorbs some of this liquid as well. Now we're going to take it off the stove. Bring it right over here. See, there's still quite a bit of liquid in it. And we're going to just put this right into the crock pot. And I'm probably going to look a little stumbly because this pan is actually pretty heavy. But we're going to dump it right into the crock pot. Now you're going to cook this on high in here for 4 hours. With no lid. Just spread it around, and basically that is it. And then you just walk away and ignore it for 4 hours. Now that this has been cooking down and getting thick and caramelized. The whole house smells divinely of um, bacon and onions and the sauce that is in it. It is just delicious. So now we're going to put a little bit. I'm using my Magic Bullet. You could use this or a blender or a food processor. Any of those things will work. We just want to blend it down a little bit because the bacon pieces are still fairly large. And the idea is that it's kind of jam-like, so you want it to be a little smaller in pieces. So if you're using something like your Magic Bullet, don't fill it all the way up because when it's really hot, the air expands, and so you don't want to cause any kind of explosions or anything like that. So just a little bit, and that way you also have a little more control over how much pulverization, yeah, that word, that you're getting with the machine, because we don't want to make it completely liquid. So put a little in here. All right, we're going to call that good for right now for the first time through. All right, prepare for loudness. Bang it around a little. Oh yeah, that's going to be great. See if I can get it off now. Because it makes a little vacuum going on. And then just pour it off into a bowl. You can see it's minced up, and then but you can still have all the little bits in there. Get that off of here. It's always the fun part. All right, go ahead and put the rest of that in here. All right, so that's the last of the bacon jam pulverized. I did just a slightly shorter burst with that last one to leave just a tiny bit more chunks in there. Not a lot, just a little. You can see we have great onion bacon jam that is going to make so much yummy goodness on a hamburger. And then we're just going to put it into a little jar, just like jam. And now you're ready to take it to your next barbecue or share with your friends.